Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what's going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. As always, we have a hell of a lot to get into, and it's been a rather volatile week with the introduction of an Ethereum spot ETF. Now, it's very much following the same trajectory that we saw the Bitcoin spot ETF go on. We know the price initially sold off, but that led then to a Bitcoin 80% rally, which I think Ethereum is going to see, but to more of a degree. So it's going to actually perform better than 80% once we've got out of this kind of corrective phase, sort of spurred on by the ETH ETF that we're currently in. We know Grayscale is a massive variant in that. We've had very positive news in regards to the kind of inflows that we've seen. First day, we saw around about 23% of what we saw on Bitcoin's first day. And actually, if you look at the past 12 months and the 600 ETFs that have launched and you take out Bitcoin, Ethereum really is in that number uno spot. So I do believe this will pass. I think the space more broadly is setting up for a major run. We've got things like Total 2 that we're expecting to go to $3.8 trillion. Some of the only people calling for that. We've got a lot of the Bitcoin ETP indexes, exchange traded product indexes that are all ready to rock and roll. Things like Sol BTC that's kind of hinting at an alt season. Things like ETH BTC, ETH DOM, so on and so forth, all pointing, walking and talking and quacking like a duck. So the bull market hasn't been cancelled, ladies and gentlemen. It's just taken a little bit longer than expected for altcoins to really get rocking and rolling. And some altcoins, certainly ones that haven't seen that kind of institutional inflows like Solana. It's very interesting. I think crypto's in a very similar place to what the Russell 2000 was, which we were saying you need to be bullish on before it saw that rally. And that's what we're going to get for crypto in the near future, certainly coming into the back end of this year, or certainly the latter half of this year. So we've got a lot to get into in this video. It's a significant day from a sort of macroeconomic point of view because, of course, we have PCE coming out today, which is a core inflationary metric, one of the Fed's preferred inflationary metrics. If we see further deflation in that, it brings on the kind of merit for rate cuts. They might sneak a sneaky rate cut in at the end of this month. Certainly September looks very likely, and they might even do a 50 basis point in September. They're very much posturing with other central banks, kind of letting them go first so that it's orderly when the Fed cut rates, because the dollar will ultimately fall, or the Dixie index will ultimately fall under that context. We're going to be talking about that because that's going to see risk do rather well. It aligns with global liquidity cycles and kind of technically what we're looking at. Very interesting. So we won't play the sound on this, but this was from Bilaji. The flag of ETH is raised over Wall Street, and the SEC surrenders to a more powerful regulator because it is Ethereum that now provides standardized market access to all internet participants. The network defeats the state. And we spoke yesterday about how Gary Gensler really is a gatekeeper to institutional adoption for the cryptocurrency space. Hashdex did something monumental yesterday. They filed for a crypto index, which essentially means an index ETF that, of course, they've got Bitcoin and Ethereum in now. But the clause is that once the SEC has approved others, or certainly given way to others, they will start adding more cryptocurrency to this index. We already see ETPs. It's one reason we're bullish on the crypto space. We'll fly by them again today. This was massively interesting that I think nobody really caught up on. This is from Stephen Fulop. So he is the mayor of Jersey City. He's a US Marine, former Ironman triathlete, so on and so forth. We're not going to read his bio here, but he's the mayor of Jersey. And he writes, not my normal subject matter in a post, but I'll share it anyway. The question on whether crypto Bitcoin is here to stay is largely over plus crypto Bitcoin 1. The Jersey City Pension Fund is in the process of updating paperwork to the SEC to allocate a percent of the funds to Bitcoin ETFs, similar to the Wisconsin pension funds has done 2% of its allocation. It will be completed by the end of summer, and I'm sure eventually it will be more common. I've been a long time believer through ups and downs in crypto, but broadly beyond crypto, I believe blockchain is amongst the most important new technology innovations since the internet. That is why this channel exists, ladies and gentlemen, to highlight that to you. We're going to be playing a clip from what's going on right now. Is it Bitcoin Con? I'm not quite sure where it is. Is it? I don't think it is in New Jersey. But we have James Seyfarth talking to BlackRock's head of digital assets, Robert Mitchnick, And what he says is very interesting, because what you're going to see, right, if you have if you're a portfolio manager, one of your mandates is to diversify. And what we have with crypto is the forming of a new asset class that gives them that diversification. It makes sense for everybody. We can say this for a long time and getting laughed at for a long time, but now we're seeing the fruits of that labor. It makes sense for everybody to hold a small allocation of Bitcoin and then more broadly digital assets, even if it's 1-2%. Because that's essentially what alpha is. Alpha is a saying that comes from sort of portfolio management, where you essentially diversify into what's deemed uncorrelated so that you minimize your downside but maximize your upside. And that's an opportunity that I think crypto is presenting. Let's dive over to a clip of James Seyfarth and BlackRock's head of digital assets. This is huge. And then we'll continue with a video on to more sort of pressing matters. It is Friday, so a bit of a longer one, kind of week wrap up if you
are the Morgan Stanleys of the world, the UBSs, the Merrill Lynches, these big wirehouse wealth platforms that are only working on an unsolicited basis. But like, do you think fourth quarter is on the table for some of these? Are you thinking more into 2025? Like, where do you think a timeline, if you had to throw a dart at a board and guess, when do you think the earliest that it could happen for one of these big wirehouses?
I won't get into specific names and timelines, obviously, but certainly this year is likely.
Are the Morgan Stanleys of the world, the UBSs?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is huge. This is what I mean. You're going to see the floodgates open. It's not just going to stop at Bitcoin. You will see Ethereum. You will see them diversify into Ethereum. And then you're going to see them diversify into broader altcoins. Certainly if some of these altcoins are successful and they replace or compete with the likes of Amazon in regards to decentralized computing, so on and so forth. What you're looking at with some of these blockchains are essentially some of the most valuable things of tomorrow. I truly believe that. That's why this channel exists, to highlight what is an amazing opportunity in regards to all of that. Let's dive into some pressing matters, and that is, of course, what's taking place today. We have core PCE index. Now, this is an inflationary metric. Expected to come out slightly hotter. I think overall, though, core PCE is expected to come down slightly. This, of course, has a bearing for the dollar. So we've been saying for a long time that the dollar's been in a channel since 2008, and you come into the lower band of it. That's going to see risk do well. If we put risk, crypto, the SPY, gold onto this chart, we could put a number of other sort of things that would technically be what we class as risk. You can see the kind of correlations here, right? So you can see even in the prior, dollar down, crypto up, dollar up, or risk up, dollar up, crypto down, dollar down, risk up. The further continuation of the dollar coming down is going to see risk do very well, and we think that is exceptionally likely. We haven't been in the ding-dong along. The second 1970s wave of inflation is here. We said, nope, this is not the 1970s. You're missing out key parts of this story. And to sort of bring this back to Bitcoin, we have said this is just a broadening channel that you're likely going to come out of. There's been lots of volatility, little sell-off yesterday, just sort of coming back to the mid sort of range of this kind of ascending or broadening structure. You're going to break it and see that continuation. The beautiful thing is you're very much setting up across the board. This is total 2. You can see we're very much still in that right shouldering. Ultimately, we think this is running to $3.8 trillion. We also have others. That we think is going to 2 trillion, which means the top 10 minus Bitcoin is going to be worth about 1.8. And then we've got all the ETPs that we look at. And we're at this kind of stage where we're ready to sort of break out, in my opinion, and really see that further upside. Mara was the sponsor of that. Mara looks quite good. This is where I think your altcoins are. This is very reminiscent to the IWM, which is the Russell 2000. We'll talk about stocks in just a second, guys, because there's 2 that I'm actually quite bullish on. Obviously, we've mentioned Tesla and how we think it's going to double. Crypto's here. It's been basing. It's been accumulating. It's sort of consolidating, and then you're going to get this big run on the back end of it. Talking about some stocks that we're bullish on, this was interesting. So Adobe now going into AI-powered work. This is the Adobe chart. This is very clearly an uptrending chart. And this was actually highlighted. This is one of the charts that we've got in our sort of stage 2s. Everything looks ready to rock and roll. To bring things onto Tesla, so we've said, and actually the level that we said would be a good long here, which is where the gap was, got filled. Oh, maybe not. But this is ultimately, we think, going to form what is going to be an inverse head and shoulders that is going to see Tesla go to $550. So over a doubling is what we're calling for at this point. Of course, Amazon progressing quite nicely in regards to the sort of $261 target that we have for it, based on a similar thing to what we're looking at in Tesla. And when you divide these by Bitcoin and crypto, it's a very positive picture that is painted. So I think we've rambled on for long enough. Just stay focused, guys. Don't get footed out of this market. The institutions are here. They're going to continue to be here. They're going to come in a big way. Right now, we've got the gatekeeper of Gary Gensler, who is being slowly overthrown. There's massive things happening. This industry is going to be in the multi-trillions. You know, it already is. It's going to be in the 10s, 20, 30s of trillions eventually. And you're speculating on it at a time when it's, you know, everything outside the top 10 is worth $200 billion. I mean, that really puts things into perspective. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. Have a fantastic Friday, and I'm going to see you all in the next one. Thanks all for watching, guys. See you in the next.